And now we're going to proceed to doing something more complex. So as I explained at the beginning, what we're importing is vehicles. We're importing vehicles. But each vehicle can have not just simple fields like we just added as the date, like the fuel type, odometer, etc. But it can also have complex objects like the driver, or even for this driver in a nested way, they can have one contact. So let's see how we can import complex objects like many to one to many, or many to many in a nested way, meaning recursively. So just a reminder, these two columns represent our driver for this vehicle, and these two columns represent the contact for the driver for this vehicle. So let's first configure this object to be import. So we come to our import object and we edit it again. And this time we are not going to use these columns, which is meant to be used for the simple fields. But this time we're going to use child objects. So this time what we're going to add in the case of these two columns is one respawner per vehicle, as you can see. So let's do it. The model in this case is respawner, and again, why respawner? Because the driver is of type respawner. So how are we going to identify one respawner? It's a good question, and we must be quite careful when choosing the primary key, because if we choose just, for example, this column, it could happen that we have more than one respawner in our system whose name is John. So we don't want all the Johns to be linked as drivers to this vehicle. It's not even possible. So we need to be sure that we are always retrieving just a single unique object. So in this case, I'm going to choose both columns to be the primary key for our object. So how do I do this? I say the primary key is the first name and the last name. That's it. And these columns are mandatory to be filled in this column section. So where are they? Number F, letter F, which is number 5, and number 6. So let's say first number 5, which is of type char, first name, because it's a name. And that's it. It's always specified because it's a primary key. We're sure that this value is never empty, so these other options won't make any sense. And it's the same with the column number 6, which corresponds to the last name, and this also char. That's it. Yeah. Let's save it. And now we need to set the relation with its parent. So for this object, the partner, we specify in the relationship with the parent in here. But though we're specifying the information in the child, what you are requested to fill is in the way parent towards child. So the parent object will be filled automatically and is the only object we have, information of vehicle. This comes from previous tests. Please ignore it. So the type of relation, um, since as I said, we're coming from the parent. If we go to the parent, which is the vehicle, the type of relationship is a one-to-many, as we can see in the type. So one vehicle has just a single driver, so it's a many to one. And the relation field, I insist, the field inside the parent, which is a vehicle, is the driver, which is driver ID. Perfect. And we don't need to fill this as long as the type of the relationship is different from one to many, because one to many are special. And with this, I would have finished the first part, which is setting the driver. And we can just try it as it is right now. Let's try, why not? So, okay. And if we now go to the vehicle, we see that the driver is Dow John. Dow John was not in the system, but the same way that this vehicle was created because it was not existing, there was no license plate named like this in the system, so it was created. This respawner is created because it was not found, and we can access it. And the information it's inside, except for the default values, because we didn't specify any default values for the partner, just the name and the last name. And the same happens for the other one, which is Sansa Stark. Here she is. So let's go deeper, and now let's associate the contact for each of the partners. We don't see here any because we didn't implement it yet, we didn't configure it, but we want to see Jane Doe as the primary contact for John Doe, and Peter Baelish for the primary contact for Sansa Stark. So let's go in. It's always recursive. It always happens in a nested way. So we go to the vehicle, now we go to this child, and now we create a child inside this. It's still a rest partner because it's in contact from the partner, and we're using as primary keys the same one we just used because we have them. But now the columns are different, as you can see, because now we refer to column number M, letter M, and N, which is 12 and 13. So first 12, first name, type chart, okay, column number 13, field chart, sorry, last name of type chart. And now we need to specify here the information. As we can see, the partner has been already filled because it comes from this parent, and now we need to specify the type of the relationship. Which is the type of the relationship? So we need to be sure about this. Let's go to another partner to see the kind of the relationship. So we see that it's actually a one-to-many. These contacts are depending always on their parent. And the field is called child IDs, so let's proceed. So the type of relationship is one-to-many, and the relation field is child IDs. Here it is. And now we do need to specify the many to one field, which in this case counts in the other sense, the other way around, from the child to the parent. So that means the many to one object that links the children to their parent. In this case, it's parent ID. That's it. And with this object would be ready to be imported. So let's save, save, and save. And let's import it. So now, if we go to the vehicles, and if we go to John Doe, we see that now he has Jane Doe as a contact, and same happens with this car. And this is how you can import in a nested way all the records that you need.